friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 7 of my 2019 holiday card series. Today I'm going to be making a card using Lawn Fawn's Ho Ho Holidays, Yeti or Not, Ready Set Snow, and Tiny Christmas. So I have stamped out all the images I'll be using on some Neenah Solar White cardstock with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to be coloring with my Copic markers. I'm starting with my Santa, and I'm going to color his skin with E50, E51, and E53. There's not a lot of it there, so I'm just going to bring that down from the top with the E53 right under his hat, and then blend out with the E51, and then the E50, and then also color in his little hands. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to color in all of the little houses in that little trio over there. I'm just putting that E53 down at the bottom for those, and then blending upward with the E51, and then using the E50 to soften the top into the white. So I did not color up the entire way on those. I left a little bit of that white showing because I figured that the snow on the rooftops would really be creating a little bit of brightness there that would just kind of fade out the color. Then I took away the E50 and added in the E55, and I'm going to use those three colors to do the little sack. I used the E55 to accentuate the little gathers on the top, and then I did kind of a C shape on the far left. So I'm shading over toward the right then with the E53, and then filling in the right side with the E51. And I also colored in the doors on all the little houses, and I think the center one is possibly a church or a town hall because of the wide open doors and the clock on the center. So I did all of the doors with the E55 and the E53, and then also the tree trunks of the little pine trees. Then I'm moving on to my reds. I'm using my favorite red combo, R29, R39, and R59 to do Santa's suit. So I'm going to lay in all the shadows with that R59. I did a little bit on the top of his hat brim where that would be casting a shadow there. And then from there I just went down both sides of his body to kind of create that little rounded appearance. Santa is supposed to be nice and jolly, so we want him to look nice and round. And then I'm bringing in the R39 for the mid-tone, just carrying the rest of that line across on the hat, and then pulling that red toward the center of his body for his little outfit. And then I will finish with the R29, which is that nice bright red, and I'm just going to fill in everything else that remains. So I'm doing his hat and his jacket, and then also his little pants. When I finish him, I'm going to color in one of the stripes on the snowboard, the center stripe, and then I'll also do one of the ribbons on the gifts, and then one of the gifts. So my idea for this card was to do kind of a modern day Santa. So he's going to be on his snowboard instead of pulling his sleigh, and he's got his sack of gifts there that he'll have over one shoulder, and then he's kind of like tossing down the gifts to land on the village below. So I just thought this one would be something kind of a little bit humorous and lighthearted, which is perfect for the holidays. And of course, all the people in the village are sound asleep, as they should be when Santa comes, as we know you're not supposed to stay awake and try to see Santa. But the little dog is going to be like running outside and kind of barking up at the sky because he sees these gifts falling down. So he's the only witness to the snowboarding Santa. So moving back to the coloring, now I'm going on to W00, W1, and W3. I'm going to color in Santa's beard. I'm just pulling that W3 down on the sides, creating a little shadow there, and a little shadow in the center of his mustache. And then I'll do a little dot detail on all the white areas of Santa's outfit. I'm also going to do the stone hearths in front of the buildings and also the chimneys with that W3. Then I'll pull in the W1 to soften up Santa's hat and add a little more dot detail to the white parts of his outfit and just help that make it look nice and fluffy. And then I'll finish with the W3 on all of those areas as well and let that fade off into white on the center of his beard. I'm also going to color in one of the gifts with this combination. I thought maybe it would look like a silver wrapped package or just a gray package. So I just did a little light shading down in the bottom left corner. Then I'm going to move on to W3, W5, and W7 so that I can do Santa's belt and his boots. And then I'm also going to do the little dog in black in memory of my dog Zadie, who we lost the week before Christmas last year. So I just thought I would go ahead and put her in the scene just to kind of memorialize her there. I did get a little bit on his buckle and I didn't want that there, so I just pushed that back. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the little dog. He's super tiny, so it's real quick and easy. Just a little bit of shading down his back and on his legs, or actually her legs, since it's Zadie. And then pulling that color forward with the W5 and then a little W3 on her face and her ears. And then I also colored in the ribbon on the red gift with those colors. I thought maybe it would look like a black velvet bow or something. I just thought that'd be a little different. Then I'm moving on to the roofs of my houses, and I'm using E13, E17, and E19. And this is kind of like a nice reddish brown. I thought it would look like terracotta roof tiles or something like that. You see those often in Germany and also in the United States. I just thought that would be something a little bit different as well, and it would kind of tie in with the red on Santa's suit, but just be like a different shade of it. So I also did the little church spire, but I didn't do the roof on the far right because that one is just completely covered in snow. I used Y13 and Y15 to color in Santa's belt buckle and then also give a little cozy and warm glow to the windows on the houses. So maybe they left their Christmas lights on because everybody should be sleeping. I'm moving on to the greens. I thought I would tie the little sack with a green velvet ribbon. So I'm using YG61, YG63, and YG67. And then I'm also going to use those shades on the trees. I just put the color darkest to lightest from the top so that each succeeding kind of break would be in shadow as it's kind of tucked up under the previous one. So the YG67 first, and then the YG63, and then the YG61. At first I thought maybe I was going to color the second tree in some different greens, but I decided to keep things nice and simple and just do exactly the same. I also colored in that last little gift in those greens and one of the stripes on the snowboard. Then all that's left is that top stripe and the snow, and for those I'm using BG10 and BG11. Just a little BG11 first, and then adding in a little BG10 and letting that fade off into white. And I also did the last remaining gift bow over on the far left there. And then I just trimmed all of these images out with the matching dies. I created 2 snowdrifts using the stitched hillside borders and the simple stitched hillside borders, although the part that I'm using from the cardstock from the simple stitch hillside borders does not have the stitching line on it, and that's just because I needed it to go in a certain direction. But before I add those to my card, I wanted to add a little bit of a frosty glow to the top of those snowdrifts and just really emphasize them. So I'm going back in with my BG13 and then BG11 and then BG10 and just really creating that nice, cold, chilly feel at the top of those snowdrifts. And then I will grab my colorless blender and just kind of smooth that off into the white area. And I'll repeat this process for the other snowdrift. I just showed this one on camera. but then I'm going to take the taller one, the sloped one, and stamp my sentiment on that. And I'm using lobster ink and stamping Happy Ho Ho Holidays, which I think is so cute. And it's kind of cheeky, and it's going to go perfect with this little scene that I'm creating here. Now, I did take out my paper when I did that because I forgot that I was going to stamp on that piece, and I had already added foam tape to the back. Thankfully, it stamped very well. And now I'm stamping on a piece of just plain white cardstock that I trimmed down. And that's going to be my liner because I am using Lawn Fawn's Rainforest cardstock, which is brand new this past release, and it's super dark, so I just thought a liner would make things nice and easy to be able to write your message on the inside. I'm also going to use a piece of pattern paper from the Snow Day Remix, and I trimmed both the liner and the pattern paper down with the same die. It was the outside in stitched rectangle stackables. So I'm going to adhere the pattern paper to the outside of the card, make sure that's nice and straight, and smooth that in place. Then I can add my first snowdrift, and that is going to go flat on the card as well. And then the sloped snowdrift that Santa is going to be snowboarding down to toss his gifts below. That one I'm going to pop up with some dimension to just create some nice depth in this scene. So now I can begin to add my images, and I'm going to start with the little town. Those areas are going to go into that little recessed snowdrift that's back behind the scene there. And I'm going to add one of the trees on either side of that. And I'm going to put the little dog kind of running in front of it. And I thought that would just be cute. And it also kind of creates a little bit of depth perception because it's going to be a lot smaller in relation to Santa. But because it's set back and it's not popped up, it's going to kind of just, you know, balance itself out. So the rest of the images that I'm adding, I'm going to use some foam tape. I peeled off the release papers from Santa so that I can get him placed just right, and I attached the little sack to his back already. And now I can take that little snowboard and tuck that up under his feet so that he looks like he's flying down that curve. I'm going to give him one of the gifts right in his hand, and then the other two I'm just going to add into the sky so that they look like they're falling down and just landing on the little village there. Maybe they'll just fly down the chimneys or something like that. He's obviously using some kind of magic. And then I decided that the top left was looking a little blank and it needed a more white to balance out the big swath of white in the right corner. So I cut out a little moon using the stitched circle stackables. I just moved it twice so that it would cut out the little moon shape, and I adhered that flat to the card as well, so that would be back in the distance. And then to finish everything up, I'm going to grab my favorite crystal Stickles. If you didn't expect that, then you haven't been watching my videos for long enough, because you know that this is just my favorite final embellishment. It just finishes off a holiday card perfectly. So I added it to the moon and to Santa's belt buckle and to the ribbons on all of the gifts and to the snowdrifts. And then I'm also going to add it on the blue edge of the larger snowdrifts as well to give them some added sparkle. And the whole card is just going to be glistening and glorious. So super fun. I had so much fun making this one. There's a look at all that sparkle and shine and a final peek at the inside. So not to worry, Rudolph has not been replaced. He's just having his fun on the inside. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast creating it for you. If you did, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and you can subscribe if you haven't already. This card was created for the Lawn Fawn Fawny Holiday Week, so it will be up on their blog instead of mine, and I will have the link in the description box below so you can check out all the other amazing designers as well. And if you'd like to see day 7 of the previous 2 years of holiday card series, those are on screen right now. I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye.